Hey guys, this is the Hawaii Professionals Happy Hour. We've been doing this for about 5 months, and we've been having great discussions and conversations. This is the Hawaii Entrepreneurs Room that we've been hosting this in. Darren Tom is the founder of Hawaii Entrepreneurs, and we've been just having really good conversations the last couple months, and we decided to maybe just been having some really good dialogue and been actually starting some new businesses here in Hawaii. And we thought, hey, why don't we turn this into a podcast? So today is the actual inception of the Hawaii Entrepreneurs Podcast. Right now we have Kaz and Darren as two of the core the core people in Hawaii Entrepreneurs. And yeah, we've decided to do our first podcast today. So this is being recorded, and we're going to start with 30 minutes of just kind of like talking to some of the core team. We have a couple other people joining us in a few minutes. They're wrapping up a cohort that they're doing with some locals, exploring some business ventures, and they've been coaching some locals on how to start their businesses. But I just want to take this time real quick to say hi to everyone in the audience. Again, this is going to be a little different tonight. We're not going to just have open discussion. We'll open it up in about 30 minutes, but we're doing our first podcast that will be available on Spotify and iTunes in probably next week. It should be up. So we are recording right now, and I just wanted to introduce Kaz and Darren right now. Kaz is actually in Scotland. He is an entrepreneur himself. He does real estate investment, and he does luxury rentals, and that amongst a lot of other things. But Kaz, do you want to kind of share a little bit about what you do?
Yeah, of course. Yeah, so I've been in technology and product innovation for just over 10 years. And then over the past year or so, I've been investing in local businesses here in Hawaii. Everything from, as you mentioned, Daniel, uh, from real estate to creating our incubator and agency to help drive local businesses here in Hawaii. So, yeah, I have my hand in a few different things, but looking forward to the dialogue today and seeing where I can add a lens from the tech and product space and real estate and startup. So looking forward to the conversation.
Very cool, man. And I do see some friends down in the state, in the audience. I just want to share again. We are recording our first podcast right now. A little bit different of a format, but we're just gonna kind of have some, basic like a conversation with some friends, and then we'll open it up to people in the audience in about 30 minutes. And if they have question and answers, and we'll just kind of open it up for everyone to kind of just hang out. But we are recording right now, and I just want to share that again. This is our first episode of the Hawaii Entrepreneurs Podcast, and with that, Darren Tom is the founder of Hawaii Entrepreneurs. Darren, you want to kind of share a little bit about yourself and kind of what you do?
Yeah, what's up, everyone? Yeah, so my name is Darren. You can find me on Instagram at Darren T. And yeah, I created Hoy Entrepreneurs with Kaylee Klobukar, who's my partner. We created it because we knew, more people here in Hawaii just need more guidance, and we just wanted to build a community where we could all share ideas and go together because living in Hawaii, I mean, just the living expenses and everything is just it's tough. So people they have their 9 to 5 jobs, and really it's not enough for people to make a living here. And a lot of people you know tend to look at the US continent to move to look for better opportunities. And we want to be the place where people can connect and collaborate and create with one another, and keep the good you know good entrepreneurs here in Hawaii. And that's why we created Hawaii Entrepreneurs. You can find us on Instagram at Hawaii Entrepreneurs. We also do have a free online community at hawaiientrepreneurs.com. um, and we welcome everyone to come join us and just share your ideas and just connected with one another, and then hopefully, you know, hopefully we can do like business together, and I think that's the whole idea.
I appreciate it, Darren. So Darren's been really pivotal on connecting a lot of the people in this room or with Clubhouse, and we actually have had a couple businesses start up just with conversations in this room, and we've been innovating around that. So again, we've decided to turn this into a podcast, and we'll see how it goes. And with that being said, my friend Nainoa Logan, I think he's hopped in now. He was just doing a cohort with some I don't know, entrepreneurs and maybe people that were looking to build startups. And he's been doing coaching. He has this thing called Mollypreneur, as well as he does stock trading and stuff. But yeah, Nainoa, do you want to kind of introduce yourself and kind of share a little bit more about what you?
Yeah, aloha everybody. Thanks for having me, guys, and it's always a pleasure to be in this room with you guys. And yeah, we just wrapped up our second workshop, second of 12. So we just launched. It's called Maulipreneur. So Mauli is indigenous Hawaiians. It's a Maulipreneur cohort. It's 6 months long. We have one-on-one coaching and things. We have money challenges where one of the projects that we've teamed up, which is Mahalo Shoots, where we're helping people. If you have a design to put on a shirt, we got the graphic designer, and we team you up with local designers, and you create a shirt. So, yeah, I've been trading in the stock market. My main focus is options. I've been trading since 2003. I'm going on my 18th year, but my specific focus will be anything's option related. I've been maybe like 8-9 years. I'm a quant, so I don't trade with charts. It's just price action and historical value. But yeah, I mean, me and Ka'u, our goal is to elevate Native Hawaiians and do our best to elevate the whole Lahui, or the whole, community and the whole nation. So, yeah, I don't know what else to say, but yeah, pleasure being here, guys.
Very cool. Any chance is Caillou with you too, or is she kind of tied up right now? Nainoa? All right, cool. Well, yeah, we definitely want to introduce Caillou and Kali'i when they get a chance to hop on. But
oh, hey Daniel, go ahead. Yeah, so sorry. Yeah, Kaiu's here. She can introduce herself.
Okay, great. Yeah, Caillou is Nainoa's other half. She's also an entrepreneur. Honestly, probably one of the you know harder working hustlers I've met so far here in Hawaii. We've worked on a couple projects, and usually, like if I have an idea or if there is a discussion, it's like, hey, can we get this? She's like right on it, and she finds like 5 sources for certain things. So I'm like, man, she's well connected. Her mom's also a famous artist I just saw her at Bishop Museum, like at one of the exhibits. I was like, oh, that's cool too. But I'd love Caillou to be able to kind of introduce herself and what she does. She's also an author too. So yeah, maybe Caillou could kind of introduce yourself.
Hey, aloha everyone. Sorry, I hope nobody minds. I'm talking through Nainoa's phone. We're in the same car, so there's like a crazy echo if we're both on Clubhouse on separate phones. But thanks for that introduction, Daniel. Like he said, we just finished a business cohort, and I am a publisher. I run a nonprofit that publishes Hawaiian language and culture resources. And that's how I actually fell into entrepreneurship. Is I saw a need for more culturally authentic materials, and I knew I wanted to make more. That's the creative side of me. Like I'm more of an artist. I just want to create and build. But then I started a nonprofit, which did require me to learn some business skills and to do sales and marketing and other very uncomfortable and unfamiliar things. But in the end, the more money I raise, the more scholarships I can offer to students who helped with our projects, and the more good I can do for my community. So it's been worth it. And yeah, and I love being part of this team. Like I was telling Daniel the other day, working with Kili'i, Darren, Kaz, Daniel, and Nainoa, and working together on a team It's been so much fun. Like it's a mastermind group every week, every Thursday night, every Thursday afternoon, and all the days in between. So, yeah, thank you.
Thanks, Kaiu. And yeah, I'm glad. So Kali'i hopped on as well. Kali'i is also one of the founders of Hawaii Entrepreneurs, the co-founder with Darren. Uh, he's been doing a ton of interviews with different entrepreneurs on the island. Also, he does some. I think he does some coaching and advising, and also has been helping with a couple of the new startups that have come out of this room. But yeah, Kali, if you want to kind of maybe introduce yourself a little bit, that'd be.
Hey, what's up, everyone? Thanks for coming through. Mahalo, Daniel, for giving me the floor. Hey, guys, just want to thank you guys all, first and foremost, for coming through. Without a lot of people like ourselves, pushing the limits and really trying to achieve greatness with entrepreneurialism, especially in Hawaii, I know it can be hard. So, just to kind of echo a little bit what Kaio said is, having like-minded people, striving for, not only native Hawaiians, but just in general, having that creative ideas and that creative mind thinking, is really, really important. A little bit of background about myself, I've been in the sales industry for the past probably 13 years. And so what I love to do is I love to look at a business and try and kind of see where maybe, the sales part is kind of faltering, and to piggyback off of Darren a little bit, he's been able to teach me the marketing side. So, if we can teach local businesses and local entrepreneurs a combination of both sales and marketing, I think that's a recipe for greatness, for any company and for really any company to thrive. I believe that's really what you need. So, having a Ko'io and Kaz and even Daniel have another eye on things, really, really kind of broadens us up and gives us the opportunity to provide some great resources, for our local entrepreneurs. And, I kind of just jumped into this, but if you guys haven't, please go ahead, if you want to click on my face here and come be a part of Hawaii Entrepreneurs. It's pretty awesome, guys. In the last 2 months, I don't even think we hit the 2 month mark, but we're over 350 members that signed up, and just being around people, like I said before, when I very first stalked is, like-minded people, just the energy is unbelievable. And it's a really great place where you can connect, 24/7. It's really of a kind of like a social. We even have an app for it, guys. So, I would really suggest, just check us out, see what we're doing. And, I think we're going to be doing some really great stuff. And I love for all of you guys to be a part of it. And I'll see you guys all on the inside. Hello, everybody, for coming through. Appreciate you guys.
Hey, thanks, Kali'i. And this is basically the core group of Hawaii Entrepreneurs. We've been, like I said, we've been doing this clubhouse room for about 5 months. And we were talking like, hey, do we want to keep it going the way we've been doing it? We've been having conversations that last like 5-6 hours sometimes. And we're like, hey, why don't we just put this into a format? And, we've had some really interesting people come in and out of this room. We've had investors come in. We've had politicians come in. We've had entrepreneurs come in and sharing great information. And we thought, hey, why don't we just record this and turn it into a weekly podcast and kill two birds with one stone by networking and still hanging out and meeting people and discussing business ideas, but also maybe putting together a format where we could have some really good conversations and like I said, turn this into a podcast. So if you look down in the audience, you'll see the party hat icon. That's a concept I was playing with called Housecast. We were just going to create podcast episodes with clubhouse conversations, which we did with a couple other rooms. So this is our first podcast episode for the Hawaii Entrepreneurs podcast. If you click on the icon, you can see that. So it says Hawaii Entrepreneurs, what's called Hawaii Entrepreneurs podcast. And today is the first day. And I'm Daniel Kim. I am the CEO and founder of Merch Labs. We do merchandising for a lot of social influencers. I've been in the entertainment, new media space for almost 20 or over 20 years now. And I've just, been doing a lot of business development, working on different startups, specializing really in e-commerce and influencer marketing. But moved to Hawaii, and I've been working with a lot of entrepreneurs here. I have maybe six startups or six startup concepts that I'm playing with right now in Hawaii, and they're all with the friends that I have on stage, and it's been fun. So, with that being said, I have a question that I'd like to throw out to you guys. Hawaii entrepreneurs. So that word Hawaii entrepreneurs, to me, it's a, a mindset. It's a type of a person. It's a way of thinking and living and doing some form of business in Hawaii. And I want to ask, what is the Hawaii entrepreneurial scene? What is it like in Hawaii? And what are some of the good things and some of the challenges? And I'd love to open it up to you guys, maybe to share a little bit about maybe your particular journey or your thoughts about like the Hawaii entrepreneurship, scene and vibe of the islands. You know what I mean? But yeah, if you guys can kind of shed a little bit of light on that, that'd be awesome.
I'll take first crack at it.
Yeah, what's up, Caillou?
Yeah, I think growing up, going to high school here in Hawaii, a lot of us are pushed towards the labor departments, the unions, and we grew up that way. And so just to even see that there's a group called Hawaii Entrepreneurs, and there's a lot of people in Hawaii who are now members of Hawaii Entrepreneurs, and to see that there are so many entrepreneurs here, it's really exciting for me. Like when I graduated from my high school, there were 452 people in my graduating class, and I want to say a good 98% of us graduated and began working as some kind of union worker, right? A teacher, construction worker, airline stewardess, and so to see so many of us in our generation and the generations below us kind of breaking out of that mold, taking control of our time, taking control of what makes us happy and what drives us, is really exciting for me. And it's a change for Hawaii. As we said, like Hawaii is kind of behind the rest of the world in a lot of things, but this is where we're moving forward and we're changing. And I don't want to say we're catching up, but we're definitely moving in a different direction than our parents' generation was.
Thanks, Caillou. Darren, Kaz,
I'll
Khalid, any
jump
thoughts?
in it. I'll jump in it. Yeah, yeah. Same thing. As a local boy growing up, I had I have seven siblings, including myself, and they're all older than me except for one of my brothers. And all my brothers, my mom, my dad included, yeah, same thing. All labor. All told me to, if not go to school, just get that good, secure job. And me growing up, my aspirations growing up as a kid, I believe since I was 6, my whole thing is I wanted to be a baseball player. That was my whole thing. And I knew it was always going to take hard work, so from 6th grade all the way to, high school. And, it was awesome because I actually got a scholarship to play college ball. Right. And then, right out of high school, and getting into college, we were expecting, my girlfriend at the time, now my wife. Right. So, life got pretty real. And I knew as a kid, like I wanted to have my own business. Like I wanted to have the ability to have freedom, And I don't know, maybe it was instilled to me from when I was a young kid, from my dad saying that, you don't really want to have a boss. You want to be the boss, right? You want to call the shots, right? And maybe that's what it did. And I think baseball kind of helped me with that and gave me that confidence to do it. So I remember right out of high school, getting to college, expecting my dad, threw me right into the labor, right? So I started in carpentry, and it was funny because it really hit me when I was, so I was 19 at that, or I was 18 at that time, doing a roofing job next to the most pristine golf course ever. And I would see people golfing all the time. And I always would think, like, how are they doing that when I'm over here, as a carpenter doing all of this stuff, right? I needed to know sales, so that's what I started to learn. And that's what I got into because, for one, it was the barrier of entry is very low, right? So I got into sales, started figuring that out. Once I learned sales, I really, in this past 13 years, I knew that would be key to it, right? And all along, my mom guys and my parents and my brothers all like were like, bruh, just just get the 9 to 5, get the 9 to 5, right? So out of all my brothers and even my cousins, I'm like the only one really, you know, trying to do this entrepreneurial thing. And like Cleo said, it is cool because now with social media and influencers and all of this, like now you can actually really have a real good fighting chance. In Instagram and how Hoya Entrepreneurs was born is 3 years ago. We knew social media was going to be where it's at. So, Darren was really good in Instagram. He taught me everything I needed to know. And it's like, bro, like right now is the time. You don't, age doesn't matter at this time. You can be 10 years old, come in with some cool graphics on a shirt or whatever it is, come in and start making some money. So for me, seeing that and seeing this whole process grow, it's going to get even more easier. But now what I find is, everything's out there. The hardest part right now that I see with my friends and even to my family is just putting your foot down and putting in the work, that grind that it's going to take. And, we say it's a grind, but, all roads after grind, it comes that freedom, right? So that's what we're all working for. And that's where I believe Hawaii will strive, as long as more people can believe that and more people keep going down that road. Sorry guys, I know I went on a rant, but yep, that's it. That's my word.
No, that's cool, man. I had no idea that you were such a serious baseball player. I used to play baseball in high school too. And the funny thing is, I know Hawaii, they're serious about baseball. So you must have been pretty good if you got scholarships, Khalid. That's dope. And, one of the things, I noticed that you put this in your profile, but like, I talk about it a lot. It's like, you want to go fast, go alone. You want to go far, go with many. It's like an old African proverb. And I think that like, playing sports and working together in groups, like I think that's one of the opportunities I see in the of the island, right? Like even here in Oahu is like, you know, a lot of people are doing independent things, and I've heard this several times, like, yeah, people are doing their own things, and they're doing separate things, but like, I'm sure people are collaborating, and I know there are organizations that are doing that, but I think the opportunity to bring more people together and work as a team and maybe come up with the next big startup out of Hawaii. It's not going to happen it could maybe happen with one person, but I think if you bring like-minded people together and you brainstorm and you think things through, that's where the magic happens. And, to that, Kali, I know, we're working on different projects like Ina Greens, Mahalo Shoot, Shaka Tech, some of these things. And it's been really fun watching kind of things emerge and actually turn into real businesses. Like, Mahalo Shoots, that story was kind of cool. And Darren, like, I don't know if you want to share a little bit about Mahalo Shoots and kind of how that started, but like, you doing Living Life in the 808 as a clothing line, doing social media, now launching Mahalo Shoots, and like, doing that Keiki program with, I think these kids, they did a 48-hour campaign and they sold like a $3,000 worth in like 2 days. That was pretty crazy. But like, yeah, Darren, any thoughts on that?
Oh man, that's just crazy. That's just crazy, and that's straight hustle, and it's it really makes me happy, that these teenagers were able to do that within 48 hours, and really, it comes down to you know learning these fundamentals of entrepreneurship and what it's all about. And really, I think it comes down to your why. Like your why. If you have a good why, then I think that's automatic. You're not going to get burnt out for yourself. And also, I mean, when people understand your why, they're more invested in what you do. So I think that's so important. Yeah. And Mahalo Shoots, I mean it was just a great concept because you know why go, what just do things local. Let's keep everything local here in Hawaii. So instead of going to was it T Launch or the big cartel or Shopify and using Printful, let's use local resources. Let's bring your brand to our shop where we can go ahead and sell your merchandise for you. And yeah, so that's Mahalo Shoots.
Yeah, and just to chime in on that, Darren, having these kids do that, right? Like, high schoolers, or I think they're middle school, bro. I think it's amazing, and there's one thing that I think is vital. I don't know where I read this. I think it was on a book or something, but if you guys are familiar with rugby, right? The most successful rugby team is the All Blacks from New Zealand, and it's crazy. They did a study on why they're so successful, and it's because of the culture that's around them, right? They're expected to be rugby players. They're expected to win. They're expected to go to nationals, worlds, and all of that stuff, right? So, I mean, as I was brought up and talked about a little bit about my past, like, if we can help these younger kids, generations. So I have 3 kids. My oldest one is 14. My other one is 12, and I have a son who's 4. But if we can help these kids, mold them to thinking that way, and making them know that it's okay to think that way, and there's resources and there's places, right? And that's why I believe Hawaii Entrepreneurs was born, to give people an opportunity, to really go and do these things and try to make it work, instead of saying it's too hard or it's too much, right? So having a gateway for these resources and this technology, again, like I mentioned before, which is just on the forefront, and is going to give everyone else that fighting chance to go ahead and do that. But yeah, I just wanted to mention that, because if we can help mold our keiki that way, like, sky is the limit. I do think that something great will come out of Hawaii, Daniel, like you mentioned. Whatever startup, if it's a technology side too as well, really put Hawaii on the map, and kind of move away a little bit from the tourism, which we've talked about quite a bit. But yeah, just wanted to throw my piece down on that. Mahalo.
Yeah, man. Like, I think also that's, you bring up a good point, Kali, about like the Hawaiian culture and the people of Hawaii. That's the one thing that I think, as far as like from my perspective, if we can preserve that, I think this is one of the most beautiful cultures on the planet. And I do think, like, obviously tourist industry is one of the biggest revenue generators for the islands, and uh, in my opinion, it's unfortunate that it has to be that way, right? Because you're forced to kind of create a culture where it's a service based business, or you're kind of like uh, customizing, or what am I trying to, like, custom tailoring your businesses towards people that are visiting, right? And there's been a lot of backlash, from what I've seen, right? But like, if the culture could be preserved, and also good businesses could emerge out of Hawaii, I think that would be an amazing, you know, uh, like, idea, or a goal to kind of pursue. And we have talked about that several times on Clubhouse. Kaz, any thoughts on that? I'm just kind of curious. I mean, I know you're in Scotland right now, and I know you're originally from California like me, but like, I know you've been living on the Big Island. I know that you have family in Hawaii, like I have as well. Any thoughts on that?
Yeah, and maybe just some background. You asked that the original question was like Hawaii entrepreneur, and what that means. And I am just coming back home. I was born on the Big Island and then raised on the mainland. And I think I've over the last several months I've just wanted to learn more about the ecosystem. And I would say in many ways it's similar to a lot of what's happening on the mainland. But there is something unique about when you get momentum here. And I'm excited, about what can happen. And when I think about entrepreneurship and Hawaii, there's a lot of things that come to mind. But one of the things that always comes to mind that I talk to the group about is I think a lot about the principles of what Robert Kiyosaki, who is from Hawaii and is the author of Rich Dad Poor Dad, which for me is what set me on my real estate venture. I think about passive income, understanding cash flow, and things like that. But once becoming a part of this Hawaii entrepreneurs community, I think it opened my eyes to what many leaders are doing here, and being a part of bringing entrepreneurship island style to the world. And I think about something we often talk about, which is the balance between ambition and doing it pono. And I think that's something that is kind of the mainstay. Is oftentimes when you think about like going forward, there's a lot of just restrictions in your mind. But I think if you have kind of that mindset of ambition and virtue, I guess you can call Pono. Pono has a lot of different meanings, but yeah, I think to your point, Daniel, you're asking about like tourism, right? I think tourism for Hawaii isn't bad in and of itself, but I think there is a growing need to have a more balanced approach to what drives GDP for. I don't think it's, completely replacing tourism by any stretch of the imagination, but I think it's, if anything, over the last year and a half, it's shown that there is a great need to diversify, how, what industries can be built here. And I think, this last year has also opened up a lot of opportunities for us, right, in terms of what we can do in the virtual world, right? So, I mean, in terms of services and technology that can be stood up, I mean, there's nothing really that restricts us as Hawaiians to be able to create businesses here that, to Darren's point, are locally supported, owned, and operated, but also taking a lot of services and taking.
Right. I think Kaz might have gotten a call. I just saw the call pop up. But I just wanted to share. So, we are doing our first Hawaii Entrepreneurs podcast, and we're testing this thing out. So, we are recording right now, and I just invited up a handful of people from the audience to come up. We wanted to do 30 minutes of just kind of talking with our guests, which is like kind of the core team behind Hawaii Entrepreneurs. We've been actually incubating a bunch of businesses in the last couple months, and we're actually gonna. We've started generating money actually on a couple of the concepts that we've launched, which is pretty exciting, and we're in development on a couple other things as well. But I just wanted to open it up to the people that were been listening. If you have any questions or thoughts, feel free to chime in. And like I said, this is our first podcast that's being recorded, and we should be launching this on Spotify and iTunes hopefully next week. So just wanted to open it up and see if anyone had any thoughts, questions, or comments.
Hi, this is Bryce. I have been a longtime listener of the rooms that have been hosted by Hawaii Entrepreneurs. And I just wanted to say, first and foremost, thank you for building this community. I have, for a really long time, wanted to be a business owner and start my own business. And, back when I first started out my journey, it was really old school. And I was doing crazy stuff like sitting down in coffee shops across the islands, counting customers and doing all that kind of stuff. And I did have resources like, the small business center and the other resources that were available at the time, but nothing like the conversations that I've been hearing that you guys have been hosting here. So first and foremost, I just wanted to say thank you. And then I had a question to you guys, the founders. What are some, you talked about some of the examples of entrepreneurship that have been spurred or ignited from these talks. What do you see, or how do you see this format, social audio, changing the way that we are able to connect? Because for me, if I had this back then, man, I feel like I could have hit the ground like running even faster. So I just wanted to kind of hear your thoughts on that. This is Bryce. I'm done speaking.
What's up, Bryce?
Yeah.
Go ahead, Khalid.
Oh, shucks. Sorry, Daniel. No. I was just gonna say, yeah. So, I do know, like, without this platform, I'll be 100% transparent. None of this would happen. Me and Darren had Hawaii Entrepreneurs going on, but coming together, like Ka'il, Kaz, and even Daniel, all of us said, like, bro, I think it's very important. I think this is exactly what we need, right? Coming together, having these convos, and getting this going. As far as the future goes, I think having just this area where we can talk freely, be ourselves, and continue the convo moving forward is going to be priceless. We've had opportunities where, some of the Congress, came through, people who've had big business, right? That we've been able to, talk story with, and they've been giving us a keen eye on what they've done and they've experienced, right? So, I think another thing too is we can always think about how things we wish we could have had it happen, you know, and now it's just the implementation of doing it, you know, and that's what we're kind of figuring out here. At least that's what I feel on our side is like, you know, now we have the puzzles, now we just got to do it, right? Just like that person who before, right, social media, you would have to spend hundreds of thousands of dollars to have a television ad, right? But now, you know, for as little as, you know, $3 a day, you can have an ad on Instagram. But it's just wanting to do the work, to learn how to do it, surround yourself with people around you that know how to do it and executing, right? That's just my take on it. Go ahead, Daniel. Sorry for interrupting, brother.
No, it's cool. Like, so just to kind of to add on to that, Bryce is you know, for me, it's really about like a couple things. One being attention. The fact that Clubhouse, the technology came out and people actually were like, hey, let's try it out. So you had the attention of the people. If nobody hopped on Clubhouse, um, there's like nothing there. Like there wouldn't even be the opportunities to meet or have these conversations. The second thing is the speed at which you can ideate and discuss, right? So the audio components to it, I think it's some, you know, you've heard of town halls and stuff, like people come in and, you know, they have these conversations or discussions and you bring up, you know, issues and you talk about them, right? And I think Clubhouse was, you know, it's an interesting platform because you have audio and then you have the ability to open up discussion very quickly with a big group of people, right? So like even this group right here, I mean, we have what, maybe, I don't know, like 15, 20 people in this room right now. I mean, our rooms were filling up to like 50, 80, 100, and people come in and out. I mean, you have different people that can come in a room, add different perspectives. You know, I could ping somebody in a room. You know, that in real life you can't do. I can't go to a coffee shop and then ping somebody and then them show up. I'd have to call them or FaceTime them. So the fact that those first two things, like people's attention was on Clubhouse and they were participating in it, and it just made the ability to have this dialogue that much more seamless. I think created an environment where you could have like really good conversations that turn into what we have had turned into business. And I think that's the third part, right? Is you have to have resources to be able to move on ideas. So not only did this room have the ideas and people were talking about the ideas, like, you know, one of the best ideas that I've heard to this day was Steve, and he was one of the early investors in Coinbase and Uber and stuff. He said, hey, you know, what if you did, you know, solar Bitcoin mining? And I'm like, I love that idea. I was like, what? And I didn't even think about that. I'm like, yo, you know, he's like, yeah, Hawaii has like, you know, they're very solar panel friendly. Like, you know, every time I go to Costco, I always see Sunrun or whatever brand that is trying to install solar panels. But yeah, if you can lower, you know, the cost of your, you know, your electricity and be able to use the sun, which this island does get a lot of sun, you know, and solar energy, like, could you possibly turn that into a Bitcoin mining farm, you know? So, but like, you know, the resource to actually pull that off might be a lot more difficult, you know, because Bitcoin resources here on island aren't as maybe readily available as some other places. Especially, I mean, I don't even know how. You know, I think Bitcoin in general, the popularity of it here is emerging, but like, you know, a lot of people couldn't even get Bitcoin, and it's unfamiliar for them. But you know, the fact, you know, kind of just going back to your comment and question is, yeah, like I think those areas, you know, the fact that there was attention, that the audio platform enabled like quick iteration of ideas, and then maybe the resources, like, you know, of the people that were in the room. It wasn't just like able to talk, but we as entrepreneurs and business owners were able to execute on some of these ideas. I think that's what's enabled us to kind of launch a couple of these projects. One being a t-shirt play, one being a tech agency, one being we have been talking about like a CBD/cannabis play. And there's a couple other ideas that have been brewing as well. Like, you know, there's real estate stuff that we've discussed and some other things. But yeah, I mean, hopefully that kind of answers that and kind of, you know, touches on it. And like, even to your point, Bryce, like being able to even come on stage and have a question like that and be able to talk with like-minded people, I think that's really um, where the beauty of Clubhouse has been is like you can have a ton of different ideas, a ton of different people with different backgrounds giving their perspective and potential resources to back certain things. And that's personally what I've been kind of excited about using this platform and now creating this podcast. So but yeah, I don't know if anyone else wants to add to that, but yeah,
No, I think that's pretty good. Thanks, Bryce, for your question. Anybody else have any questions?
I just wanted to say thank you guys for talking about these kinds of things. I think I'm an outsider. I actually live in Seattle, a good friend of Daniel's, but one thing I've been inspired by all the conversations is just the energy I feel when you guys, everyone shares about different ideas and your passions and things like that. One side gig that I started up just for fun, I work with Microsoft, have a full-time job, but I actually started up doing DoorDash, kind of a little bit inspired by some of the conversations here with rentals and things like that, and just to learn, like, what is a side hustle, like, is it hard work, like, what can you learn from it, how do people treat you, like, what are the benefits, how to do it better. So that's just like something fun that I've tried that I've actually made about $1,000 doing it over about 6 days, and so that helped me pay like 2 car payments and just something I'm trying, and so you guys have like been inspiring me. I love just hearing the ideas, and that's not going to be my final landing spot is DoorDash, but it definitely got me thinking about like alternative streams of income. So thank you guys for just the conversation. I love learning from you guys.
dude, that's super cool. And like, Bryce, to that point too, right? It's like one thing I've also learned is birds of a feather flock together, and energy is contagious, and like that's what's been fun about these rooms is whether everything kind of rolls smoothly or people disagree or they agree or they get excited about something, being able to kind of discuss quickly and iterate, and then we one of the rooms we had this guy that literally was like, hey, I'm making, I don't know, was it $10,000 or $20,000 a month now? He converted his adventure or his tour business into like a car rental and taking advantage of the lack of cars here on the island. You know what I mean? So, and then we took that and we're like, oh shoot, let's play around with some social media and see if we can kind of create some social accounts and put ads behind that, because he was just talking about the ads and stuff. But it's just been. I do think that this is like a really good platform to be able to discuss quickly and iterate. And Steve, dude, that's awesome that you're doing that. And like, hopefully you keep chugging. And I'm always supportive. If you have any ideas, like you ever want to talk about, you can catch me on Thursdays in this room. But I will say this just to share. I know new people have hopped on stage and joined the room. We've been doing Hawaii Professionals Happy Hour for about 5 months, and today we decided, instead of just doing a normal open conversation, we're turning this into a podcast. So if you look down in the audience, there's a profile called Housecast, and we'll be recording these every week and having guest speakers. So we did 30 minutes of just kind of sharing with some of the core team of Hawaii entrepreneurs, and right now we're just opening it up for questions and comments. And we have about 17 minutes left of the recording. So I just wanted to see if anybody else wanted to add to anything or had any questions or thoughts, and chance to be on the first episode of the Hawaii Entrepreneurs Podcast.
Kumu
Aloha.
Lawrence, good to
Oh,
have you up here. Oh, sorry, go ahead, Shelly.
I'm sorry. I was driving this whole entire, so I didn't want to talk, and so I'm pulled over. um, Does someone else need to speak? No?
No, go ahead, Shelly.
Oh, okay. Thank you so much. It's crazy because I actually just put my car on Turo because of the what I heard about the crisis in the car rentals, and then I'm like, well, every time I leave the island, I'm just going to Turo my car out and make money while I'm gone. And so my first trip, I made like $300 while I was away, and my car was rented for the weekend. But what I think I would like to see, or I think we may kind of need here in Hawaii, especially like on this island, I wish, which I'm on Oahu, I wish there was like a hub that we can go to that has a nucleus of like professionals that help with the logistics of business. Because I'm finding myself having to track down um, a CPA, and now I need an attorney because I need to do an LLC conversion, and I need to do a 501c7. And I know these things are like very costly, but I feel like I'm piecemealing everything together. I'm having, of course, the Small Business Association is very helpful, but it isn't like where you can go to like a one-stop shop where it's like, okay, you're starting a business, you're ready to go. Here is our IP, because I met an IP lawyer on Maui, and it's a lot of businesses that need to go through the copyright and trademark process with the federal one. And knowing the difference between having your trademark here in the state and then having your trademark registered with the Library of Congress, you know what I mean? Like, there's all of these different things, a world that you enter into when you go into business that it's not just running your business. And for me, being a business consultant and then also having a business, I'm finding that a lot of owners, they are sinking because they cannot afford support staff to run the logistics of the business, and they also don't know how. So they may have a great idea, they're making money, they're flowing, but then 2-3 years, their taxes are behind, their paperwork is behind because they can't effectively like keep up with that. Plus, do the actual business, whatever service or whatever they have. And I've seen a lot of businesses go under because they just didn't have the knowledge or the time. Really, it's the time to do the research. So I really wish there was like a hub here where if you were starting a business or converting your business into a corporation or something like that, you wouldn't have to, you could just go and find out either how to do it or professionals who will work within like a HUI to help, like locals, make sure their businesses are right according to the books. There were so many people who lost out on COVID help and relief because their paperwork was not together. All of these grants and stuff came out for businesses to get help, and a lot of people I know, they're so behind on taxes or so behind on something that they couldn't qualify for the pivot grant, for this, for that. And I just think that there needs to be a little bit more support. So that, I don't know, like that could be far-fetched thinking, but I know for me, like I have to take out at least 2-3 weeks to kind of do all this myself over the next couple of weeks because I really don't have any help and I've never done a conversion, and I don't know anyone who's done one. So it's like you have to like crawl before you walk, but a lot of people's businesses are good ideas, and they need the income now. So you don't have 8 to 10 months, 18 months to do all of this. You need the income right now. So I don't know. That's like one thing I could think of that would be really useful for the entrepreneur, especially millennial entrepreneurs. We need to not figure out how to streamline information so that all the businesses are like legit and running accordingly, so no one misses out on any opportunities. This is Shelly. I'm done speaking. Aloha.
Hey, what's up, Shelly? Hey, first of all, I just want to say what's up to Kamaka, out on the stage. Hey, but Shelly, yeah, actually, Kaiulani and Nainoa, is Nainoa on? Yeah, Nainoa, they're actually running a cohort right now, and it has to deal with a lot of like setting up your business and you know and everything. So I'm just gonna give them the mic. Caillou, Nainoa.
Yeah, I'll jump on. Aloha, Shelly. Yeah, we just launched our cohort, and so the way that we did it is called Maulipreneur. It's cultural focused, but we have entities set up in 3 phases. So in phase 1, we're walking people through like searching your business, getting your EIN, getting your operating agreement, and registering with the state and getting your GE license. So that's level one, phase one. Level one, phase two is getting your accounting and your taxes in order and opening a bank account. Once that's set up, the next phase in the entrepreneur setup is building your business credit. Because if ever you want to get into Walmart, Target, Costco, um, you need to start establishing business credit. So level two, phase one, is getting your DUNS, registering with 411, getting your trade line set up so that you're reporting on Duns and Bradstreet, Experian, and Equifax Small Business. And after that business level two, phase one, then level two, phase two is now you're just like focusing on building the credibility. So that way, anytime you're going to enter into contracts and agreements, they're going to pull your background check, and Duns and Bradstreets and those credit bureaus are going to show that. So we walk you through that in phase level two. And then level three, we walk you through contracts and organizations. So whether you want to partner up with a nonprofit, whether you want to set up your entity for state contracts or federal contracting, getting the certifications, registering for SAM, Beta SAM, setting up for getting your org charts, all of that, like those are our three levels in our cohort, and we walk everybody through that. So it's a 6-month cohort. Shelly, feel free to tap on my icon, message me on Instagram. We've already done 2 workshops. I can talk to you a little bit more about it. But that's what we do, and we do it with a cultural lens, I guess you could say.
Ikalamai, everybody. I'm Kumu Paul Lawrence. I know, if I may, I know Kamako might have had something to add, but you already piqued the interest. I know this follow through that you're talking about, is that online or is that on island? How are you doing this?
Yeah, we did it by Zoom. So right now it's all online. We record it. Once everything opens up again, we're based on Oahu and Waianae side, but we have online because of COVID. Now it's remote and eventually going to be live.
And so the information that you shared, you have that information on what is it, your website or?
Well, so for us, we did it through our cohort. But if you like, just message me on Instagram. You can follow my Instagram, and then I can pass it to you, Kumu.
Yeah. I'm in business already. I've been in business for a long time, but I do have, families and friends. I think that would actually, it would pay off for them to go through something like that. Yeah. Mahalo.
Yep. Hello.
Aloha. Thank you so much. I know I'm in Makaha.
Oh yeah. We live up on plantations now. I mean, we just moved off of Farrington, so yeah. If you're in Makaha, I mean, you're right in our backyard, so
I'm
we
in
would
the
love to help.
towers.
Oh,
Hey, neighbor.
hey there, neighbor. I see you.
West Side, baby.
Yeah.
West side's the best side.
Hey, so real quick, this
I
was
got a question.
our first podcast for Hawaii entrepreneurs, and really appreciate everybody for hopping on. We're gonna open this up for just normal what we've been doing, like happy hour. But the last person we did want to get to is Kamaka. He is part of Hawaiiverse, and he's also been involved with a lot of projects we've been working on. He's also an author as well, and he's done his road to 50K. And I just wanted to kind of, Kamaka, if you can kind of share a little bit about Hawaiiverse and also your perspective and your lens on entrepreneurship in Hawaii and kind of what Hawaiiverse has been doing, that'd be awesome.
Hello, everybody. Mahalo, Daniel, for calling me up. I'm actually driving right now, so I'm going to try to focus as best as possible. But yeah, right now I'm involved in Hawaiiverse. It's like an online directory that supports local businesses. We do a bunch of different things. One of the main things is it's a directory to local businesses with discounts to them local businesses, kind of like a local version of Yelp and Groupon. So we want to try to incentivize people to support local, and we keep it free for businesses and users. I also host a Spotlight series where we go through a crazy idea to pay off $50,000 of student loans in 1 year. I did that last year by just doing a bunch of odd jobs, and by doing that, I kind of started my entrepreneurial journey of just like figuring things out and networking. So that's what led me to Hawaii Verse, and it's really cool just to the scene we have here. Starting with Clubhouse, meeting Daniel, Darren, Kili, everybody, and just connecting. Especially I'm in the younger generation. I mean, I'm feeling old, but I know you guys are probably gonna say I'm young, even though I'm 28. I feel old. But it's really cool going to these businesses and meeting the people my age that have businesses. Like one girl who has an ice cream shop, and she's like, what, 25 years old. One girl, like one of the youngest, I should say lady. She's one of the youngest business owners in Waikiki, local, and just like hustlers. And I meet people like that all the time, and it makes me really excited because I can see the future of Hawaii for me as I live my life. So it's pretty cool. And connecting with everybody on here and having mentors like you guys, it's super fun. I'm really blessed, and I'm excited for the future, my future and our future here in Hawaii. I'm Kamaka, and I'm driving, and I'm out.
Mahalo, brother Kamaka. Thank you for coming through. Hey, guys, I want to thank all of you guys for coming through. We're going to wrap this up for this evening for the podcast here. I do want to thank all you guys for being here. If you guys want to stay on, we can definitely stay on and still talk story. But, guys, we're going to be doing this every Thursday. This is the first episode. I want to thank all of you guys for being here, participating. It does mean a lot to all of us. And as you guys can see, I hope you guys can all feel the ohana, feel all the energy here, guys. And we're going to be doing this every single Thursday at 8 o'clock. Run it for about an hour. Guys, anything to do with any kind of social media, websites, anything you guys need online, we do want to be that resource to help you out. Shelly, you brought up some great points. We are going to be working towards that too as well. That's why we have Ko'io and Brad and I with us too. So all great combos. Again, I want to thank you guys all for coming through. Thank you guys so much. And before I let everyone go, if you guys can please, support us. One of the best ways is just following us on our Instagram. You can go ahead and click me, or you can go to our website at hawaiientrepreneurs.com. Be a part of our community, be a part of the family, and let's try and let Hawaii thrive. Before we turn this off, guys, if we can all just unmute and give everyone a little bit of a chee-hoo for everybody, and thank you guys all for coming through. Let's go.
Chee-hoo!